The follow path function is a fantastic way in Anime Studio Pro to create some really sophisticated animation with just a few clicks of a button. Now, there's a couple things. One is that the follow path function is not very well documented inside the materials provided with the program. There's some ways to set it up, there's some things to do or not do, and additionally you can have individual items like this one red square follow a path. You can also have a bunch of objects follow a path, and they can either follow in one big block and move around the path in one big block, or they can conform to match the curvature of the path. Really cool function. So to begin with, the most important thing of working with the follow path function is that you set it up at frame 0. This is the establishing frame where you create all your characters and all these types of things. I bring that up because you can actually think you're setting it up down here with a time marker moved down the time frames. The program will let you go ahead and set up all the functions, but then it will behave badly if it behaves at all. Why they let you set it up down there and have it not work, I don't know. Just know that if things are behaving strangely, it's time to go back to frame 0 and start over again with that function. The other thing is that when you work with the follow path tool, there's a specific structure that needs to be followed. One is the shape that you want the objects to follow needs to be above the shapes in the layers palette. So this shape path layer I have happens to be this white one right here. You don't have to have a fill. You don't even have to have a stroke on the path that's being followed. We can also turn off the layer visibility, and the objects will still follow the path. So it's pretty cool that way. Let's begin with the single layer and getting this one square to follow the path. The way to do that is to come down to the layers palette here, and the follow path tool is the little curved arrow. Now there's going to be something that happens right here that I need to demonstrate that may leave you scratching your head the first time you work with it. I'm going to click on the path just right up here that I want it to follow, and we see the square offset. Now your first thought may be, well, this is broken, it's a bug. It's actually a tremendous feature. The follow path function orients the origin of the layer to the path, not the object. So if you want this square, for example, to be offset from the path a certain distance, then what you can do is have the layer origin offset just a little bit from the shape. In this case, I want the shape to follow the path specifically, so I need to reset the origin to be at the center of the shape. To disengage the follow path function at frame 0, simply click off of the path and everything resets. I'll come over to the layer origin tool, click on it, and now I'll click the center of the object. We can see the origin marker align there. Come back to the follow path icon, and now when I click on the path, we see the shape show up right where I want it to. To animate this, we just step forward one step right here to frame 1, where we can begin our keyframing. And this is where you worry or concern yourself with where you want to orient the object to the path. Like most tools, the follow path tool has a contextual menu item up here. In this case, it's just a numeric box that allows you to enter a percentage of its distance around the path, from 0 to 100. Well, if I want it to go to 0, then I just manually enter it at 0 and click OK. How does the program determine what the beginning of the shape is or the path? Well, quite simply, it's the first point drawn in any shape or line. That will be the 0 point for the program. Now here's the goofy part that's not spoken of inside of the documentation. This contextual menu box only allows you to enter values from 0 to 100. So if you want to have it go the opposite direction, for example, if we come down here to 72, I'll come back up to this box and enter a value of 100. This will allow the shape to traverse around the follow path, or the shape itself, a complete distance. If I scrub the timeline, look, there we go. All right, back here at 0, it's right at the beginning point, and then at 72, it's completed. What if I actually want more revolutions, or what if I want it to actually go the other direction? Well, you can't enter negative values here. What you have to do, say we're back here at 72, is use the follow path tool and click on the drawing table right here. Click and drag. This allows you to go left or right in values beyond 100%. So here the square is moved negative 16.2. Why you can't enter that manually? No idea, but there's a way around that by using the actual tool itself. Let's go ahead and delete these keyframes right here. I'll move the timeline marker back to 0. I'll have the follow shape or follow path tool, click off the object, and that resets the object over here. Well, let's get this multiple object to follow the path right now. I'll highlight that layer. We can see the origin itself is set right up here. I'm going to orient the center of that right at the center of the shape. When I use the follow path tool and click here at the top of the object now, everything aligns in one big chunk. If I step forward and we go ahead and enter a keyframe, come down to 72 and scrub the timeline, we see the object just staying in one big chunk following the path. Well, let's delete these two and reset this and do a conform. Now this will require a specific keyboard shortcut. What I'll do is back at time frame 0, I'll click off the object, it resets off, but now I'm going to hold down a modifier key, the Option or Alt key depending on your system, PC or Mac. And when you click on the object that is going to be followed, now all the shapes line up. And if we step forward one frame and I click to set a keyframe, go to 72, and then I just click and drag with the shape tool, we see it following the shape really nicely. Now something very important to be aware of is that this conform to function only works for objects set up along the x-axis. So if you'd like this nice linear flow, it needs to be set up in a straight line on the x.